Hey, this is Sevven, and you're listening to the Gareth Nelson Show.
I'm happy to announce that I'm joined in the studio by the fantastic artist named Sevven. We're going to play one of his songs called Forget Who We Are, and then we're going to chat to him live. All right, that was Sevven there with Forget Who We Are. Very cool song. Then I'm joined by the man in studio today. Sevven, how you doing?
I'm fantastic, and you?
Oh, let's just turn it up again. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can't hear you. Talk for me again.
Can you hear me?
Just come over here, Sevven. We'll use
Oh,
this
hang
mic.
on.
Here. Oh, we go.
There we go.
I got you.
Ah.
Finally. Oh, goodness. It's a great day today.
The switch was off.
Thank you. Luckily, this man has got a very good production background himself, so he could help me out here today. Sevven, firstly, tell me, how did you get started in the music industry?
I mean, I started playing piano when I was 7 years old, and then sort of when I was in high school, I learned to play drums and guitar, and I started recording music when I was about 16. I had a little computer and a dodgy sound card, and there was just never going to be another way, you know. It was what I was going to do. At a stage, I wanted to just leave school and just do music, but my parents made me finish. But yeah, it was sort of like I just took whatever opportunities I could, you know, got involved with whoever I could, and trying to find where you can add value, and yeah, that just grew from there, I think. Yeah.
And what would you say inspires you as a songwriter?
Life in general. I think it's a case of, you know, we all go through things and we all experience things that we then in turn perceive to have meaning to us, or we see other people go through things and experience things that we feel we have an opinion about, or feel we can maybe help out with by offering a certain point of view, or, you know, so it's, for me, it's just about being true to what's happening with me in my life every day. Yeah.
And can I ask, how did you get the artist name Sevven?
I was in a band a while ago that the lead singer, I was playing drums, and the lead singer said I needed a stage name, and he sort of gave it to me, you know. I don't know where he came up with the idea. My original surname's Martins, which has got 7 letters, and I don't know if you got it from there. But and then when I was looking at starting this project and trying to find a name for it, it seemed like quite a suitable thing to call it, just Sevven, because, you know, the number 7 has got so many cool things surrounding it. So I thought it's quite a cool name, yeah.
And the double V that you use in it?
That was mainly trying to just have a unique space to operate in, like, you know, like a digital fingerprint almost, like when you're Googling things, and when you go on Apple Music and you search for things, that it pops up first, you know. You don't want to be lost in the, like a needle in a haystack between all the other content out there. So yeah. And
then what is your big influences in terms of your songwriting?
Sure. I mean, I would say that for me, it's life in general, like, and my experience as a human being. Like I've actually not been listening to a lot of music lately. Like I try and not get too hung up on certain things, because as a creator, it's almost if I listen to an album, no matter how, if it's, sometimes those albums come out and they're so great that you just want to listen to it over and over and over. And when you do that and you go back into the studio and you start making music, you're basically just recreating that stuff that you've been listening to. So for the last 2 years of my life, I've purposefully tried my best to not get stuck on music. And it's been hard. There's been certain albums which I've been dying to listen to over and over, and then I've sort of kept myself from doing that. So I've found that I've tried to rather submerge myself into other form of arts, like film and general arts. I love arts as well, so sort of get more infused with those sort of things and get inspiration from a completely different medium rather from music itself. Yeah,
I see. I was actually going to ask you about that. I see you do obviously partake in other visual mediums. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so I mean, Sevven as a project for me is a creative outlet of myself in every aspect, more than just music. In the sense that I've done all the artwork, I do all the videos. The whole creative process of it is really just me, you know, which is partly sometimes why things take a bit longer, I think. You know, I think other artists can often move a bit quicker just because they've got different people handling different parts of the thing. So for me, Sevven is really just me doing my thing. So the downside of it is things can take longer, but the upside is that it's really a great opportunity for me just to be expressive and not have not have any other influence in the project but me. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, and there is no ruch to get things right. I mean,
no one's waiting. That's a hard lesson I had to learn, that no one's waiting for you.
No.
No one's waiting, and it's better to just take your time, and slow and steady wins the race, and do things on your own time, and I think people will at the end of the day appreciate a better thing more than what they would appreciate more content, but it was rushed or whatever the case is. Yeah. So.
And it's interesting that you say that, because in this time and age we're living in now, everything seems to be rushed, and there seems to be so much content coming out all the time. Multiple movies every week, multiple albums being released.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to hear an artist that says, "I'm going to take my time, be patient." Almost.
Yeah, there's absolutely. It's sort of like a work fast but live slow sort of thing, you know. So operate quickly when you know what to do. Do it as quick as you can.
Yes.
But as an overall, go slow, which is a strange space to try and operate from. But it's I think if you get that right, there's value in that. Yeah.
Now I wanted to ask you. Okay, you just said to me you haven't been listening to a lot of music now, modern music, as it were. What do you think, though, about the state of world music as it stands right now? Do you think it's been a shift in terms of genres, that the people are preferring to listen to sort of more electronic kind of music, hip-hop, that kind of
hip hop's the new rock and roll, man.
It is,
like full on. I mean, if you go onto iTunes now, my iTunes is an American account, and if I go on there, the top 10 songs are hip hop songs.
Yes.
You know, I think it's very interesting. I'm not. I tend to not hang on to things like I think a lot of people do. For me, it's just natural. Pop music as a whole is not a genre. It's an ever evolving thing that could be anything. As much as what Ed Sheeran is pop and Taylor Swift is pop, someone like Kendrick Lamar's pop, you know, and even though he's a rapper. So, you know, it's just what's popular at the time, and it's like that space is always shifting and will continue to shift. So
Yes.
if you hang on to things too much, you're going to be disappointed. So I'm excited by creativity. I'm excited when I hear things that's very new, that seems fresh to me. I get very bored very quickly if I hear things that I feel like I've heard before. So I don't know if anyone's listened to the new Christina Aguilera stuff.
Yes.
It's
I played just now,
incredible.
in fact,
Yeah, so
Yeah,
great,
yeah.
like, and so creative. And it's not what we expect from her, you know. It's
Yes.
so different. She's completely reinventing herself. There's lots of artists that are doing a lot of really interesting creative things, and that excites me more than what specific genres or things. That's always going to change, and it's always gonna evolve.
Yes. And that's my next question for you. What do you think of the state of world music? I mean, do you think that it's in a sort of interesting transition? Do you think there's an oversaturation of artists coming through because it's maybe easier to produce music these days?
I think there's the same amount of quality music around, but I think what's happened with technology and Apple Music and Spotify and being able to make music in a bedroom, anyone with a laptop is now a music producer, you know. So it's like there's so much more average and below average music that is just available for free, you know. So I think there's still the same amount of quality music as there always was, but I think we get blind a little bit by all the nonsense that's, or not nonsense, that's maybe not the right word even, but stuff that's maybe not as well produced or as, you know, finished as some of the other
Yes.
stuff that's seeing the light of day and getting attention, when maybe in the, you know, a couple of years ago there would be labels and things that would filter that stuff out a lot more, you know.
Yes,
So
yes.
which in turn is exciting, because at the same time there's lots of artists now that are coming out that wouldn't have been able to before. You know, there's guys, that massive song Gotcha, somebody that I used to know,
Yes.
that came from YouTube. It went
Yes,
massive on
of course,
YouTube, and
of course.
so it had a very unusual way to get to us, but
Yes.
it's like that would have never been able to happen in an older world, you know. So I think it's equally, as much as what there's all this music that maybe shouldn't be getting attention, there's other music that wouldn't normally get attention that is getting attention. So I think it's in a good space overall. I think it's extremely exciting, and I think we're in a space where genres are very fluid, you know. It's not as rigid. Someone who likes hip hop can now also like Ed Sheeran, you know,
Yes,
and there's nothing
yes.
wrong with that.
Yes.
Whereas a couple of years ago, again, if you liked hip hop and you said, "Well, I like Ed Sheeran," it would almost be frowned
You'd
upon.
be
So
uncool, yeah.
yeah, you'd be uncool for that thing. So it's like I'm very excited by how fluid it all's become, and how it's really just about how creative you can be, and that's the thing that'll, I think, take you where you need to be.
Yeah, it's much more a sort of eclectic thing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And then in your own career now, highlights and regrets so far? I mean, things that have stood out for you, things that you could have done differently?
No regrets ever. I mean, we were chatting about this a little bit before, but I'm really at a space where I'm enjoying the process more than what I enjoy the end result. You know, there's these moments which are peaks, which, you know, I mean, I spent the whole of March in New York and LA working from there.
Fantastic.
I've toured Europe. I'm going to the Congo at the end of the month.
Oh wow.
I've toured all over America. So those things are always highlights for me. I love traveling, and if I can combine traveling and music, those are always ones that I write down in my memories and go, these are highlights that are great, you know. Other than that, I mean, you have to enjoy the process of getting to those highlights, you know. Otherwise, if you only live for those, it's I don't think the ride's going to be as fun. So I don't have any regrets. I think I'm extremely excited for where I am at the moment and all the things that's about to happen. And I'm in talks possibly doing some shows in both Canada and the US in the next year. So there's a whole bunch of cool things happening. At the same time, looking for more performance opportunities in South Africa. Live is very important to me, and putting on a good show is very important to me. And not which is why I don't perform that often, is because I'm looking for opportunities to really do something special and interesting and unique, rather than just playing in a club and it's the same old thing.
And actually entertain people.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's not even about entertaining for me. It's about it's really if I can change a person's life. Like I know from if I go to Coldplay, I'm gonna go home feeling like my life has gotten better, you know. If I went in with maybe a thing that was troubling me, I might leave the show with that thing not feeling as heavy, you know. And that's sort of my ultimate goal, is to be able to create a show and something that could really connect with people in that way, you know. Yeah.
Well, Sevven, I think this is a great chat. I think we're going to have to continue this a little bit past the hour, because I've got a news update as well just now. Is that all right for you?
Yeah,
a big rush?
I'm easy, no rush.
This is a great chat we're having here today in the studio. I'm going to play another one of his songs. This is called Fight for Love. And we're back on the Gareth Nelson Show here. I'm joined by the very cool Sevven in studio. We're having a great chat here. He's going to play live for us now. Sevven, you're going to be playing a song called Sunset.
Yeah, so this is my new single, The Sunset. Yeah, it's about it's really about my love for cities.
Okay.
It might come across as a traditional love song, but it's really not.
And we've actually played it on the show before, so you guys might recognize it. Anyway, Sevven, please take it away.
Breathing slow while you hold my heart for ransom. Give me enough just to leave me in the air. You never really cared, I will never really know if you'll ever be mine, if we'll ever be alone. You will be the one who leaves me in the darkness. My heart breaks, my heart fights for the city lights. And I am trying to survive another night. Oh, you should know if I had my way, and I'd be burning miles away. And let me know when you already will be leaving in the sunset. Never let me go, never let me wait, and I will tear apart and break. And let me know when you already will be leaving in the sunset. Feel the rush of life when you're all around me. Free my mind when I hold on to your light. There's a fire in your eyes, a fire that explodes. Nothing to compare to the secrets that you hold. You'll be the one who leads me from the darkness. As my heart breaks, my heart fights for the city lights. I am trying to survive another night. Oh, you should know if I had my way, and I'd be burning miles away. And let me know when you already will be leaving in the sunset. And never let me go, never let me wait, and I will tear apart and break. And let me know when you already will be leaving in sunset. I won't stop until I find. I won't be the one who hide. I will never be afraid. And I won't stop until I find. I won't be the one who hide. I will never be afraid. 'Cause you should know if I had my way, and I'd be burning miles away. And let me know when you are ready, we'll be leaving in the sunset. And never let me go, never let me wait. And I will tear apart and break. And let me know when you are ready, we'll be leaving in the sunset. Leaving in the sunset.
Ah, beautiful. Very, very cool, I must say. I'm going to try and get him to play one more. I've got a nice WhatsApp here saying brilliant, by the way.
Ah,
See
thank
who
you.
that's from.
Thank you so much.
Who's that from? Cheryl. So we're going to try and get him to play one. He's telling me he's not feeling well.
Yeah, I'm
so
a little
we'll
sick.
see.
I'm a
We'll
little-
see. I'm
just
going to
winter
tempt him.
flu. Okay.
All right, let's do your midday finance report. And we're back live. And I've got a WhatsApp here from Piros. Always loves listening to the show. Thank you. He says, wow, beautiful songs from Sevven. Loving the interview and music. Something new added to my list of favorite music. So there you go. That, of course, goes out to Sevens. And I managed to persuade him to do another song. Can you believe it? Because he came in here, he's adamant he's not going to play another one. And now I've actually got him to do it because he sang it so beautifully. So you're going to be doing John Lennon's Mansion.
I'm going to play one of my favorite songs. Yeah, just for.
And what a song to choose. All right, so Sevven, when you're ready, please take it away.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. No religion too. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us, and the world will live as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. Hope someday you will join us. Yeah, the world will live as one.
Ah, very cool. Thank you so much.
Thank
Such a
you.
beautiful song, that, of course. The classic John Lennon, Imagine there, and Sevven just performed that live for us. All right, let's get back to some chatting here. I wanted to ask you now, so what do you think of the state of South African music as it stands? Do you think it's in a healthy state, the industry, or do you think it needs a lot of work still?
I think it's in a similar state as the rest of the world. I think the problems we have here are very similar. I mean, I was in the US for most of March in LA and New York, and I mean, the everyone who I got into contact with there and spoke about there sort of had the same things that we have here, you know. Venues are getting trickier, so they still have more options and things, but even there it's on the decline in a lot of ways. They're fighting the same things with album sales and you know, genres changing and shifting, and you know, all the same things we have.
Yes.
So I don't think we're in a uniquely bad position here. I do think there's obvious areas where we can improve, you know, and I think it starts, you know, artists are very, very quick to sort of wanting to blame the public and blame, you know, there's no venues to perform at, and there's no, you know, lots of different excuses for why the industry is where it's at. But I sort of have a different view on it. I often think that, you know, there's no venues and people aren't supporting music because I don't think artists are putting on good enough shows. You know, at the end of the day, you can't have an art gallery if there's no art to put up.
True.
You know,
True.
So for me, I think if artists in this country all just sort of had a hard look at what we bringing to the table actually, and how much we're actually investing into from our perspective, I think things might change more than what we'd expected to, you know.
Well said, well said. I mean, all right, so from a personal perspective now, I know that you also do some production and things like that, so tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, so I'm very fortunate in the sense that, you know, as Sevven, I get to be very selfish and do my own thing on my own terms, creatively, and then at the same time I have my cake and eat it, and I'm very privileged to be able to work with a lot of other amazing artists producing music for them. And when you're working with other people, it's a very different dynamic, because now if I'm producing you, for example, my thing would be, how do I make what your idea is the best what that can be?
Yes.
You know, so it's which is also very rewarding and very, very cool. So
from the other side.
which is why I sort of have my cake and eat it. Yeah, it's great.
Okay, and then one day, I mean, I always think this is such a tricky question to ask people, but I like asking it, because when you look back on your career one day, when it's all done, you put your guitar up for the last time, what would you like it to be? What would you like your legacy to be, as it were?
I think just knowing that what I've done creatively and what I've put out into the world has been able to affect someone else on even a micro level in the way that it's affected me doing it, you know. So I think, you know, for me, making music and writing songs and producing and performing, all this stuff is maybe therapeutic's not the right word, but is healthy for me as a human being to be the person I am, you know, and it's the value it brings to my life is incredible. So even if no one ever likes my music, I don't care, because what I'm getting just from the process of it is so amazing.
Absolutely.
So if I can look back and there's one person who had a hair of what I'm experiencing from my music and the stuff I've done creatively, that would be amazing for me. Yeah.
Oh, well said. And your advice to younger artists now, up-and-coming artists that want to be a musician, the next big thing, what would you say to them?
Be yourself. Like, I think there's something about, you know, being unique and being true to who you are and not chasing a trend and not trying to be what you're not is very valuable. And then something that's maybe one of the most practical things I've learned is consistency. You know, being consistent is very, very, very important for getting anywhere. You know, a lot of people say don't give up and don't, you know, and that to me is not really true, because I think it's very easy to change what you do every 5 minutes, and then when you don't reach your, like if I say my goal is to get to Cape Town, but I'm changing roads every 5 minutes and I never get there, I go, but I never got to Cape Town because I never gave up. I'm like, yeah, but you kept changing your mind as to what route you're taking and what, you know, and it's very hard to get to a destination if you're constantly changing direction.
Absolutely.
So consistency. It's not just about not giving up, but it's be consistent in what you do.
Yes.
And the only way to do that is when you're being true to yourself. The first thing I said, because it's hard. The only reason when it's inconsistent is because you're doing a thing that's maybe not you, and then you feel it's not working, and then you
Yes.
change or whatever. Whereas if I'm just being me, just doing me, then it's easy to be consistent within that, and it's and that when you look down a couple of years, you can see the progress that you've made with that. Yeah.
Oh, well said, I must say. Sevven, what's the future hold for you? I know you mentioned a few things in terms of
Yeah,
going
so
overseas, but
making things, that's always number one on my priority, whether it's music or videos or designing things, whatever. So keep on creating, and then finding new ways to put that out into the world, whether that's then through shows or, whatever that form is, yeah.
Sevven, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you
thank you.
today.
It's been great. Thank you so much.
We hope to have you back on the Gareth Nelson
Anytime,
show again.
anytime,
and, we'll do a whole nice live set maybe one day, whatever.
Yeah,
whatever things
absolutely.
going.
Absolutely.
But thanks so much for taking the time
Thank
to
you
chat
so
to us.
much. Appreciate
Okay,
it.
we're going to play out with a song called Speed of the Night.